That it is hard to invest in things that you don't know. Now, the way you can do it is like joining a group like the Atlanta Technology Angels and let the people who understand the technology really tell you about how good the deal is, and then you just have to learn to rely upon their advice.
Interesting. So yeah, you would think professional managers, right? Somebody who's run a big group of people probably skews a little bit towards somebody who's got a finance background. I mean, it's not a mistake that a guy like you with your background has kind of done well at angel investing.
Well, yeah.
I mean, just based on the principles of what it takes to make money.
That's true.
So characterize kind of that before 1990 and after 1990. What kind of overall percentage of great rate of returns were pre-bubble and then post-bubble?
Well, I don't know, because I actually don't mark up my deals as we go along. Until we have a liquidity event, I don't calculate what we have really made on a deal.
Gotcha.
But the returns were less just by the nature of them before the bubble. During the bubble, they got to be absolutely crazy, and then out of the bubble, they have come way down. And so they are much less today than they have been.
And were they? I would guess they're probably lower today than they've ever been, right?
Yes, they are, particularly for angels. Because again, if you don't have enough money reserved to keep on investing, you can still get crammed down today and not do well.
Right. I mean, completely logical to think the exits are longer and lower amounts in general.
Right, yeah, and they probably are more risk today than they have been in the past, only because you do have to be in there so much longer.
And so how do you, one of those interesting things for me is there's the eternal battle between a lifestyle business, which is, might be service-based, it might be, it might have some of those aspects to it that doesn't massively scale instantaneously, but those could, in the long run, earn a lot of money.
Oh, they could.
So,
and it just depends on what you are what you are investing. A lifestyle business is great for the entrepreneur, but it's generally not great for the investor because, one, they are generally not a lot of assets available. So unless you want to have a business that can throw out cash for a long period of time, and you just, it just be there for a long period, it just doesn't work to be an investor. I talked to an angel yesterday, and he wants to start a new business, and he doesn't want any other co-investors, but what he's looking for is to build a business that will throw off cash flow years.
Right. Yeah, and I always look at it, and there's like one of those things where that may be a scenario where $150,000 builds you something that you could go out and sell to. Like I think of the Tuma guys,
right,
in town, right? So they're building a pre-interview widget that they can go sell to a whack load of people, and it's got some scale to it, but it's not. I mean, it's probably not an IPO thing.
Yeah, probably not. But don't think that all great deals are IPO deals anyway. Because out of the 120 deals that we have done, I have only had 2 to go IPO.
And most of them your liquidity events have mostly been M&A?
Right, yeah.
And is that something, how aggressively are you guys involved in that M&A process? Are you?
Well, most of the time we aren't, because by the time we get the company to decide to do M&A, you generally have 1, 2, 3, 4 VCs in the deal, and they tend to drive all of that.
Gotcha.
You are kind of along for the ride.
So again, historically, one of the great stories I reread this week was the pass on Microsoft. So you and John in, I guess, 1990 or 91.
No, actually it was probably more like 1980.
Actually, yeah, I guess it would have been
1980.
Yeah.
MSA had the opportunity to buy. We actually looked at two companies. We looked at Petrie Saltware, and we had the opportunity to look at buying Microsoft, and we chose Petrie Saltware. So, you know, you don't always make the right decisions, but, you know, it may have been great for Microsoft in the end, because who knows what we would have done to the company.
That's true. That's you know, if you figure a bunch of big mainframe guys roll into Microsoft, do they really end up licensing DOS and taking a microcomputer run at it?
Right. You just don't know. So
interesting. So, what else have you kind of passed on that turned out to be huge, or one of those where you like looked at it and went, "Wow, that was I didn't see that one."
Well, they probably been a number of them. The one I think of is MFG.com, Bush Freeze Company. He and I could never come to terms early on, and so I passed on that one. And yet, I think he had done a great job of building that company. You know, and they've been other companies here. You know, some people would say WebMD is something that we just never did, and you know, while it was big for a while, you know, then it sort of declined. But you know, one could argue that you should have been in that one. But then, you know, you look at something like a monorail little company here in town that I invested in it because I decided that it took off. I was going to look crazy for not being in it. But I didn't necessarily buy into it all along, but because that was the company that sold a computer for under $1,000. And it didn't make it in the end, but you know, I was there because I felt I needed to be, because they were the list of investors was just unbelievable here in town.
And that's interesting to me, and that's, I think I see as one of the biggest voids of you guys stopping to do new deals, is there is that kind of pack mentality in this town. It's
well, I think that's true anywhere, not just here, but we do, the angels in particular do tend to run in pack, and so do the VCs.
Given the timing of all this, the angel tax credit, as you're stopping doing new deals right now, certainly a lot of follow-on numbers. What's your thoughts on how the angel tax credit kind of impacts Imlay and your business, and what's your thoughts on it?
Well, the angel tax credit is something that is long overdue, and I think will be very helpful to the community and to get new angels to invest in deals. It really doesn't have that big of an impact on us, only because, you know, we were doing it to make money, and we were doing it because we believe in building the community. It would have been nice to have gotten some benefits from it, but at the same time, it is not something that will drive up to change our decision about, you know, terminating and doing new deals come August 1. You know, I applaud the group of people who were involved in getting it passed, because it was something that really needed to be done, and the amount of work that went into it is just wonderful for the community.
So, logical to think what it does is probably pulls more members into something like ATA, and maybe moves people who are on the edge kind of into the game, as opposed to turbocharges an existing venture.
Right, well, but he also could turbocharge as an angel who now decided that he got a little bit more money that he can put in, because he will get a credit. So it will do both, I think.
Interesting, and could actually go to the point you made about follow-on rounds.
Right.
So it could loosen up some of that second or third round capital as well.
That right.